Well, hello, welcome along. This is another in the Sage CRM learning series for 2021. I'm David Beard. I'm the CRM principal with Sage Technologies, acting as an evangelist for the product, hoping to convey the business value of CRM and articulating it to you in this format, in all sorts of formats around the world. Based in London, as you can probably tell, as is my colleague, Jeff Richards, who joins me today. Hi, Jeff.
Hello, David. Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Richards. I'm the head of training program development for Sage CRM. And what do I do? Well, I write about the product. I create short training videos, keep our e-learning material all fresh and good for you. And I do a lot of work on the development of the APIs and helping David in the specification of the product and its roadmap development. So that's what I sort of do.
Yes, it's the Butch Cassidy Sundance Kid of CRM. So in this series, we want you to understand the world of CRM. As you know, if you've attended them before, we want to share how a customer relationship management CRM system can help you save time, reduce paperwork, and provide you with greater visibility and control over the business results, right, Jeff?
Yes, and it's something that you can get going with very, very quickly. And so that's actually what we want to talk about today, how we get started quickly with Sage CRM. So we'll look at the things that we've discussed in the previous session and leverage all of those concepts about thinking about the business needs first, etc., to making a start. So delivery is what we're focused on at the moment into areas of the business where you can make the fastest change. You know, you can be delivering ASPA.
Or ASAP, as it's
Oh,
often called.
ASAP. What did I say then?
I don't know where you're
Don't know.
coming from.
ASAP. Well, it will be yeah. So all the
That
other
one.
acronyms that you can use it.
All
Yeah.
right. So building on Jeff's comments slash random thoughts there, last time we talked about preparing for successful CRM, which requires a number of things you need to think about in the context of business issues, things you are trying to solve for, what's the issue, etc. This time, let's quickly remind ourselves of why people like you are investing more than ever. And we now have proof of that because of the sales volume we're seeing in the last 18 months. They're investing, people like you, in CRM tools more than ever, right, Jeff?
Yes, unsurprisingly, becoming more organized, becoming more efficient is still a primary reason why any business wants to implement a Sage CRM system. So if you've got something like software advice, they've seen more and more unhappy customers unhappy with their current CRM system, and they're shopping around for new systems to implement. So where you've got a rigid system, that's not a good system. You want flexibility in whatever your long-term requirements are.
Yes. And it's interesting because even those buyers that have a greater understanding of what features they need, because either the education or the use of a system that isn't quite right for their needs, they're more focused now on what a good system can do for them. And they're also equally, if you're still stuck using manual methods, either in a particular department or right through a business, you're recognizing more and more that you have to move from those spreadsheets, file storage areas into a CRM system, and that you need to get the functionality that supports your needs. And that's what software advice is showing us as well, about when they survey and ask the questions about what customers want, right?
And it's surprisingly simple and straightforward what most businesses need. If you think about a business that is still running within a paper-based system, but just needs to get efficiency, eradicate errors and all those, it's essentially you want to be able to get contact management, interaction tracking, knowing who you've spoken to. You want to be able to have schedule creation, appointment management.
Yep.
All of that is basic CRM functionality.
Mm.
And about a quarter of buyers will then want to have some control over not necessarily full Salesforce automation, but at least pipeline management, being able to see what's happening with the funnel, the sales funnel, wants to then maybe go on, and some people want to go on and to look at Salesforce automation. But a centralized database, certainly bringing everything together in a single point of view. So you've got the ability to lever that sense of a single customer source to do your email marketing, your customization, your reporting. And that's getting on to when we get a bit more advanced. So there's a steady demand for all of those features inside our customer base, and they're mostly intrinsic characteristics of Sage CRM.
Lucky for us. Yes, that's true. And Sage CRM is a very important product to the Sage Group because of the feature set we offer and because of the growth we're seeing in the last few years, because it does service a very lucrative and very much growing market, as Software Advice points out. They talk about these features that they're after, as Jeff and I have just touched on. People like Gartner, another advice firm, have also considered that the market growth is 12% or more, depending on where you are in the world. And so our positioning focuses on selling and marketing modular CRM. So this additive functional set of basic contact management, automation, email marketing, etc., and layer that over the top of our existing Sage's customers, 200 products, as we call them around the world, 100, 300, 200, etc. And so what we're doing, the positioning, is Jeff and I develop roadmaps and develop marketing and do pieces of work like this, is to help our customers who have yet to experience the joys of Sage CRM understand more about what we can do for them and how that product can offer you an important component to add into your front office activity, which increases the fluidity. That's my word of the day, fluidity of your data and your processes, and making sure that you can look after your own customers and thus make them stickier with you, as in stay for a longer period, generate more revenue. Because that's what we all like to do. As the old adage is, it's cheaper to keep a customer than trying to acquire a new one, right, Jeff?
It is. And there's an interesting thing to mention about the way in which you can approach the idea of CRM. It can be focused on a vertical, it can be focused on really designed around a particular business function. Sage CRM, though, is a generalist product. It operates across just about every industry. So it is for customers of all types, whether they're focused on marketing, whether they're focused on sales, or needing to have an operational control over their business. And there are something like, over 17,000 different customers around the world using Sage CRM. So within that, though, although I said we're a generalist, the huge advantage comes from having our partners who are themselves specialists. So experienced partners tend to have particular market strength. So they'll be the people who will help you as a customer get it right. So they're always involved in Sage CRM. We have meetings with partners to help them influence the way in which the product develops. So they have lots of experience of Sage CRM, and they're the right people to help you deliver a successful Sage CRM implementation and deliver on the business benefits that you need.
So I just want to have a quick recap, Jeff, if I may, about what's in the box. And it's useful if you're either new to this series or new to CRM. And for those of you that have heard it before, this will just be a simple, quick reminder of what's there. So calendar and task management. Complete calendar, complete task management solution, daily, weekly, monthly views, usual sort of thing, due date reviews. The cool thing is, of course, it's in the context of customer records as well, whereas traditional office-based tools are detached occasionally from customer records. And I think that's a useful distinction to make then. It's easy to create new appointments, new tasks within a contact record, customer or prospect. And it could also be an opportunity, could also be a customer service issue. And you can also do that for you or across your colleagues as well. So multi-user activities. You can assign things out, pick them up, share them around, etc. Over to you, Jeff. Tell me about workflow.
Well, you've got drag and drop workflow. That's one of the things that comes out of the box. That means you can define your workflow and business process orchestration in any way you like. It's intuitive. It is literally drag and drop. You can create automated alerts and escalations to inform you about work that tips over a particular time trigger. You can have predefined processes so that your employees all follow the same standard
Mhm.
methodology. They're not inventing the wheel, and you're shortening the decision-making processes very often. Within the whole idea of workflow automation, you've got the idea of business rules operating through however you come to market, whatever your channel to sell is. So workflow stretches across departments. It
Mm.
allows, it takes into account the security considerations that you may have for all of your workers. So there's integration with workflow into what you would expect in terms of email generation, SMS alerts, screen alerts, etc. And moving work to people rather than having people chase bits of paper or anything else. It comes to the user.
I like that. Moving the work to the people. Very good. I'm going to have that phrase. Also, of course, built into the box, standard reports. So nothing extra to buy. You can use other BI type tools if you want. That's fine. But we offer our built-in reporting tool. And for most customers in most situations, just what they need. Comprehensive suite of standard report types that work straight out of the box and flow across all the entities. And you can also customize them as well for your particular requirements. And that is an important thing to do because customized reports focus on your KPIs, your metrics, and things like that. And these same sort of reports can be pushed through Excel, PDFs on screen, or surfaced to dashboards or head-up displays, if you will. Fully configurable to a person, to a team, to a department. Having all those KPIs in front of them makes sense. It's easy to know what to do. And as Jeff says, pushes the work to you rather than you hunting around and wondering what's going on. And as Jeff has sort of touched on, and I'll hand back to you, this idea of that 360-degree view, right? Bringing it together in one
Yeah,
place.
the dashboarding is probably the area that we think of as giving us the 360-degree view of a business. Dashboards themselves, I just want to point out that they are not passive, that
Mm.
you can deliver work into a dashboard, so it's tailored around the work that's assigned to a particular user, and then the user can carry out functions within the dashboard. So it's much more like a cockpit rather than a straightforward simply dashboard telling you. It's a control panel
Right.
that brings the work that needs to be delivered by the user into their immediate control. And that work can come from everywhere. So it's you can allow the impact of a service agent's decision about a product to immediately inform a sales manager how that's going to affect the pipeline. So if a sales rep delays a fix, then you'll see that has an immediate impact potentially on the next sale.
Yes.
This is coming from the account system and any other systems that you might have. So we can integrate with project management software. You can everything you could possibly want to. We've got the APIs to allow that data to flow into CRM and act as the central control environment for your business.
Excellent. And the integration point, as we touched on earlier with the 100, 200, 300 discussion, is so important too. Integration lets you bring in that transactional or rear view mirror information, as I've often described it, into the context of the front office. How many have we sold? When did we last sold? What was the discount? What was the volume, etc. So giving that competitive advantage to you and everyone, as Jeff says, in the business can know exactly what's going on at any time. It's all about driving revenue growth, increasing productivity, and enabling all customer facing teams, whatever role they take, to be more efficient in understanding and delivering great customer experiences, Jeff.
Now you can go, and probably the wise idea is to start simple within a
Mm.
Sage CRM environment, to look at it and explore with the idea that this is something that you can grow into and your business can grow with you. Um, and your partner is the person to help you deep dive
Yeah.
into the product and unfurl. It's like starting to get into a book and realizing that there's another chapter and another chapter and another chapter that you can go into. but you have to take it at the level that is useful for you, and you can give you the best wins at the best time. Uh,
Yes, yes. And that's an interesting point because you realize you don't know what you don't know, and you have to start at the first chapter because there may be parts of your business that you first think, well, I can't see how I'd use the product. But once you go a few chapters in, to follow your analogy, suddenly there's a whole other narrative thread there. So it's very important, as Jeff says, to begin and simply and small, perhaps with CRM, and grow into it once you understand the potential, and helping understand where you start or should start your process is just as important as where the end game is. So software advice, as we talked about earlier, the analyst firm talk about this idea of contact management as a key function. And indeed, many of our customers start there because they're trying to bring together disparate sets of data. And often it's just simple stuff to start with. Who do we know? Where are they? Those sorts of things. And that's such a fundamental feature of Sage CRM that's actually taken as given, really, that that's where people start. And it's the right thing to do. It's considered a necessity for 100% of companies getting started with CRM, right, Jeff?
Yes, but when you're talking about getting started with contact management, and although we then extend that to say that, oh yes, start with the implementing the sales approach within Sage CRM first. When you're looking at sales, it doesn't mean that you're actually a selling business.
No.
It means you take the approach of identifying who are your customers, and whether they are internal customers or whether they are external customers. They are nevertheless people that you have to deliver value to, and Sage CRM, by allowing you to know who you've spoken to, when you've spoken to them, and what you've spoken to them about, and how that relates to the rest of your business, gives you a competitive advantage. And that's where we think that you'll get the most benefit from. So a sales approach with your team, always including contact management, always including that interaction with customers. But when you do deliver that idea, it's a phase one with following phases to come. And then you need to start to educate out everybody within the company. This is where you have to take a whole company view and break down the barriers between departments to allow you to get beyond the initial salesy approach to service, to marketing, to all of the other functional areas within the business.
Yes. I think that's a good way to do it. It's just how do we get into phase two is whatever that phase two is, you have to get everybody on board, because it's no use trying to ram something onto people who are not ready for it, because there might be a bit of pushback, but also there's lots of knowledge in people's heads about the way things really work. And so that's useful feed into where we take the product next. So typically, as Jeff's saying there, you work into this idea of what you're selling and some form of sales overlaid on contact management. But you might, as we said earlier, move into a sales automation phase. Perhaps that's your phase two. And for many businesses, is a way of starting to improve processes, right? And the reason for that's fairly simple. You probably want to improve the cash generating part of the business first, so you can make more money. And sales automation, or improving the process and data capture and flows and things like that, helps our customers better organize and coordinate their teams and their processes, turning a sometimes ragtag group of individuals into a coordinated team, all focused on the target. And so using our sales automation software, CRM software, customers report on sales team success. They give them great awareness of what's coming down the pipe. It also helps them unpack processes and maybe data capture routines that really aren't fit for purpose wherever they occur in the front office. So organizing data and processes and settling them into a better place helps you strategically manage growth and expansion, hopefully, of the business too. And that is needed more than ever as business change through 21 and beyond, right, Jeff?
Yeah, what you were saying about going into a sort of implementing standard processes within Salesforce automation. I'm going to talk in a moment about customer service, but it just struck me that just simply implementing CRM to raise your revenue isn't necessarily going to be the first thing that you do. I think one of the first interesting questions is, what benefit to the business could it be if the weakest salesperson always performed the same as the strongest
Yeah.
salesperson?
Yeah.
By making them follow the same habits as the best salesperson, you will find that you raise everybody's game, you
Mm,
raise the standards, and that's
mm,
what the idea of of business process automation with workflow and within the business rules of Sage CRM you can do. And
mm.
the same follows through, and we're talking about customer service. What if we can make the weakest customer service rep actually deliver the same experience to customers as the cleverest person? So can you integrate the customer service process with the knowledge base that Sage CRM offers as one out of the box? So can you start to capitalize on that and realize that that you're giving a better experience to customers, and you know what, happy customers are more likely to buy from you
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good point. And in the accountability, I think is an interesting point you bring up there. It's about helping people improve, but it's also understanding where there are, well, gaps, failures. And if everyone understands what they're aiming at, maybe a KPI, maybe a customer experience measurement, whatever that is, then hopefully the tools in the box will help everyone, as you said, raise all boats. And that's got to be a useful thing. And it's an interesting way too of measuring success about the project, because to use your earlier example, if you could work out that if in a sales environment, if everyone performed as well as the top guy or girl, what's actually the return on investment? And it's probably for a lot of companies quite a substantial amount of money. So the other thing is moving on from all of those roles in whatever you call them in your company, marketing, sales, or service. You can even go deeper with some of the product features. It could be that you extend your data and process management out to the end customer or the end supplier or the end reseller of your own product through what we call web self-service, which opens up your business for full transparency, right, Jeff?
Yeah, and we said earlier on about the idea that instead of thinking about bits of paper, bits of work traveling to a user, or to a member of staff, that work appears within the dashboard. That
Mm,
comes,
mm,
anything that has to be assigned, it travels immediately to where the person is working.
yeah.
So they, if you like, it's the most efficient way of shortening the chain of communication
Mm,
within the business. But if you extend that concept out of how do I shorten the chain to deliver the value to the customer, that's when things like web self-service comes in. That's when we can start to disintermediate and allow the customer to directly place customer service requests,
yeah.
interact with customer service agents, to be able to reorder and reprovision their supplies directly, almost directly from within the web service through into CRM, so that the customer service can manage it, but then into the warehouse and the ERP system in the back office that we integrate with, delivering the goods to the
Yeah.
customer.
So let's draw some of these threads together, and I want to also remember our last session, right? Think about, when considering any technology, CRM included, what are your core business objectives, both phase one, phase two, but overarching objectives as well. What are you trying to achieve? Because doing or focusing on those big questions and then drilling into the detail underneath will help translate your ideas into measurable outcomes, as I was alluding to earlier. Because if it's about increasing revenue or bringing all the salespeople up to a certain level of professionalism, what would that mean to your business in terms of revenue gain? What's the measurable benefit? And we say this a lot. And if you've read anything either Jeff or I put online, we're very big on this because we want you to get the return on investment from buying our software. Of course, we'd love you to buy our software, but we really want you to get the return you want from it, right? So is it revenue increases? Is it the retention or upselling to existing customers? So saving money by on acquisition through upselling more to existing. Maybe it's this automation piece that we've dwelled on quite a bit today. Are you trying to avoid costs through capturing data better, improving processes, bringing the work to people, as Jeff said too. Or perhaps it's just being better at centralizing customer history in one place. And customer history could be back office history as well, from the finance system, as well as the front office information like marketing and sales, stuff like that. And Jeff, remember,
No, don't ask me what the mnemonic is. Don't. I don't ask you to explain what REST is. I don't ask you to do any of the stuff about what
isn't
HTTP
this
stands
rest?
for. I don't do that to you. Why do you do it to me?
All right, I'll let you off. So think about the earlier slides. We talked about this idea of provoking a change cycle in your business and how you would plan out those steps. Start simple, as we said at the beginning of this session. Start with contacts, start with some level of sales automation. Maybe get the accounts connected as well so that everyone can see that complete view of a customer. And help work with your accountants team, finance team, because often they're the gatekeepers to all the good data in a business anyway. And then outline a journey, a phase of works for CRM that helps solidify this change story inside your organization into digestible, sized for costing reasons as well, to get you on the journey, help you and your reseller understand about where you're heading with this story. And it could be as something as simple like, we're going to have a simple CRM phase to start with. You know, it could be like, oh, I don't know, 5 users and maybe half a dozen reports, and we'll set up all the core entities so that everyone can see the view of a customer, perhaps. And it could then morph into sales CRM with a few more users, a few more reports, a few more processes, through to what I'm loosely calling complete CRM. You know, the whole company's on board. The setup for CRM includes the company, people, marketing, sales, etc. A whole bunch more, and whatever that takes. And your reseller will advise you about how best to size that up and cost it and so forth, right, Jeff? But it should always link back to the measurable mnemonic: define values, increase revenue, avoid cost, or improve service. IRACIS, Jeff.
I shall remember it eventually. Sage works best when it's delivered with expert help from a partner. Our partners are the closest people to you. They know Sage, they work with us all the time, and they work with you, and they know your industry. So finding the right partner, knowing that they know your industry, that's when the value is going to be delivered into your business. They're also going to help you think as well what your internal priorities are, and to keep your eye on obtaining value in all parts of the process as well.
Yes.
We're in this with the partners for the long haul. That means that we are constantly aware that we need to deliver value within the product and continual value as the product develops over the years. But your partners are the people to hold close to make sure that they help you deliver the successful Sage CRM.
Exactly right. Like building a house or putting plumbing in, most people don't do it themselves. All right, thank you, sir. We've come to the end of this session for now. Thanks for joining us. As we always like to say, we've helped thousands of businesses to acquire, retain, and delight their own customers and achieve their growth, their business ambitions. And they save time, they increase productivity, better visibility, avoid cost, improve service, increase revenue, right, Jeff? So in closing, Mr. Richards, what have you got to say?
Sage CRM is probably the most affordable and best value product within within the market at the moment, especially when you're integrating with a Sage product. It's an easy to use solution. It's proven. We've got over 17,000 small to medium sized businesses. It's a best of breed APIs offering. It can run anywhere and run anyhow. So it is something that will fit into your business and not something that you have to fit your business around.
Excellent. Lovely summary. Thank you. That's all from us. It's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him.
And goodbye. So